Hi, before this video starts I just wanted to warn that this is a very sped up video and it's a bit jumpy, so there may be some flashy parts. I don't think it's too bad, but I just wanted to warn, just in case someone's like sensitive to flashing lights or anything. But anyway, hello, I'm Alicia. This is not technically the first video I've ever made on this channel, because I made some when I was like 10 or something. I don't know if they count, and I did some streams. But this is the first, like, not professional, but the first one that I've actually put any work into, almost. I started streaming on Twitch recently, and this was one of the first few streams that I did, was making this lighthouse. I thought it'd be fun to edit it down into like a bit of a video, so that's what you're seeing here. This is me just figuring out the shape. Obviously it's just a plain rectangle house, but I'm building like a lighthouse. I've seen some people do diagonal walls, like a bay window and that on Mod.io on House Flipper, using those triangle building molding, I think they're called in game, those pieces just resized. And I thought, even though you can't do like a circle in House Flipper, I don't know how that'd ever work, I thought like a hexagon one would still be quite cute, quite fun. And I really like doing slightly older looking builds, like in Sims mostly, and more recently House Flipper, so that's kind of the vibe that I was going for this one. But you can see I've done like just a hexagonal tower, and it goes slightly in on the way up, so there's 3 different, not widths, like diameters I guess, even though it's not a circle, of hexagons going up, so it's smaller at the top. And then I added like a bit of a balcony. I'm not a lighthouse expert, but I thought this looked quite nice. I don't know, it feels like something a lighthouse would have. You can see I fiddled quite a bit with the fences, because as soon as you custom place one too close to another, it like gets rid of part of it, like the, I don't know why it does that. There must be a mechanic with the fences, but that doesn't matter. Anyway, I wanted it to be a bit more interesting, so I added some bump out parts, which also I think helps when I did the like floor plan. It just helps to break the space up, and it makes a quite nice, like, a more obvious area to put certain things, like the bathroom. Like you can just close it off easy. You'll see in, now I was gonna say in just a second, you can see I made this way too tall by accident, and I figured I did not want to make the whole thing, like the whole house, shorter. Obviously the lighthouse was perfect, like, height. It went up to the build height. But I figured if I added like a foundation so that the house didn't look quite so tall, don't get attached to this foundation. I do remove it in the end, because I decided to go for more of a British kind of house. So I ended up not having the foundation and just using the terrain tools to just make the ground a little bit of a hill, so it just goes up to that height instead of this foundation. You'll also see I do a lot of things that I go back on, like a lot in this. So like with the surface finishes and that, they change a lot. Everything changes a lot. This is one of the many times where I've placed, in this build alone, I mean, a lot of little roof pieces. Sorry, this bit's going to be way flashier than the rest because I sped it up so much. I basically just ended up placing a lot of tiny pieces of roof to try and get it to go around the like diagonal wall, because obviously you don't have the diagonal roof pieces in this game. I also end up doing a custom placement of roof like this, but in a circle later, you'll see, for like the roof of the lighthouse itself. Because again, there are no round or hexagonal roofs in House Flipper 2, so it took a while, but I think in the end it was worth it. And it blends in enough. You can't see too much of the bumpiness. At least, I don't think it's too bad. No one will look that close. And again, here, there's a lot of custom things in this to work with the diagonals, so I ended up shoving a door. You can see it's an archway now, but I ended up changing it to a door into that wall, just using like the movement tool. And it works. It's a little janky, and I had to be careful where I placed it so that it actually opened and didn't get caught on like the walls around it, but I think that worked quite well. I started the floor pan about now. I wanted to have like that's my very technical height check of jumping. Sorry. I wanted to have like a lofted area. I think that's quite cute. It also makes like a nice cozy area for like a living room bit. There are no ladders in House Flipper 2. Well, not technically, not functional ladders. So that's just a really steep staircase. Again, you'll see me go back and forth on a lot of things in this. I end up going back to... Not even. I was going to say I end up going back to the green couch, like the taller one, but I ended up changing it to just 2 armchairs. I thought was nice. I was having a bit of a struggle deciding like who lived in this place, because I was thinking it'd be nice to just have like a one bed, like just for like a one person kind of thing. And then I was thinking, if this was a real lighthouse with a house attached, would they have a second person? Would it be dangerous to be out on an island, like just on your own in a lighthouse? I don't know how it works. If you're a lighthouse expert, if you've worked in a lighthouse, I don't know if that's still a very common thing. You can let me know. But yeah, so doing the floor plan, I added in like a bit of a kitchen. I want it to be quite small and cozy, like I've said. Here again, I thought this was quite cute. The like fences are going to be quite tall for that area, and also would clip through the roof. And I was also trying to figure out like what dresses would actually fit in this area. So I ended up going with these little, like, they're almost console tables, I guess, with like the little boxes to look like wicker baskets instead of a railing, which I think worked quite well. It's also quite like a tiny house solution almost, of like a very compact way to get like multi-function, you know, like it's a railing and a storage, which I thought was nice. I spent so long you'll see me go back and forth because I could not do it all in one. Actually, I think I cut most of it out. I spent so long resizing all of the the diagonal pieces, the little triangles, so that I could have the lighthouse actually be stripy. This is the surface finish I end up going with, the like cobblestone, like a very British cobblestone old cottage almost. I thought was quite nice. I end up doing a lot of red accents as well in the house itself. I go back and forth on the wood. I'm a very indecisive person. This is the wood that I ended up going with, but I went back and forth a few times. And on the inside. I thought adding these beams, like just shoving them into the window, made it look older. I don't know if I can explain how, but I thought that was nice. I wanted to have like a little fireplace, or this like little stove, I guess, like a wood burning stove. It feels weird sometimes to put the fireplace not where the actual chimney is. I know it technically doesn't need to be accurate, but it just feels like it makes more sense to have accurate, so I ended up going there. It does end up making it a bit trickier because I can't move that door now. It has to go where it is. But I think it worked out in the end. I'm adding some like structural support beams, which I think, 1, make it just look cooler, and 2, are also great for hanging lights from. I think I ended up adding some, like, I had like 3, I think, going across the lofted area, so it looked like it was actually being held up by something and not just floating there. I also ended up going with, like, you can see with that TV, I went with like the older looking appliances. You can see I've changed the wood a lot already, so I ended up going with this like worn driftwood. I was imagining this is like on an island. It's a bit like sea water battered, you know, like it's, when I picture this house, I picture it's raining and it's dark and windy and a bit stormy and it's kind of atmospheric, you know. You can see I changed the seats again, but those are the ones I went with. I spent a long time trying to figure out how I wanted to do these stairs, because I wanted it to actually have stairs going up. Oh, and this is, you're seeing I cut out a lot of placing tiny bits of roof, so you're welcome for me cutting that out. I made like a round roof by literally just custom placing. I mean, you can see it here. I custom placed so many tiny pieces. It's a bit wobbly. It looks a bit messy in some places, but I think it worked out well. The stairs, I went up most of the way, and the last little bit, you can kind of see it there. You'll see it better later, is just a ladder. I gave up on the stairs at the very end. This is me trying to make, like, what could look like the light in a lighthouse. I guess that's a bit subjective. I've never actually seen one in person, but looking at some images, they're just like big lights, basically. Who would have thought? So that's a plant pot as like the main bit. Added a mirror because the ceiling light that you'll see me add in a second is a bit smaller in diameter, so the mirror just helps have something around the edges. I imagine that like wooden fence post that I used is like the pivot point. I also ended up adding, I think this actually worked quite well, there's a new plant stand that has like the wheels on it that looks quite like a cage for a light. I don't know if that's the technical name for it, but you know, like big lights or like stage lights where they have like the cage over it almost. I think that ended up selling it basically quite well. After this, I added some windows in, which we'll see in a second, and I also ended up adding like a little fake door because the real glass doors didn't quite fit in that space, and I wanted it to be glass because like it's a lighthouse, it needs to be glass. So I took a while, but I placed one of these custom glass panels, and I added those little building molding things to look like a door handle, and I think it worked out quite well. It's on like a bit of an open angle just to really sell that it's a functional door. This took a while of fiddling and finagling, but I think it's passable. I hope. I also added, I thought looked quite cute, adding a little that round light switch as like a lock for the door. I don't know why you'd need to lock this door, because unless you're scaling a lighthouse, you wouldn't be able to break in from here. But I think it helps sell that it's an actual door and not just a panel. I don't know. But yeah, this is like the majority of the lighthouse itself. I did add like a bunch of little clutter pieces. I've cut some of it out because I wanted to just show you in person. I figured it would be easier doing like a little tour at the end in a bit. But yeah, this is I hope the end of this door, because it did take a while. But I just wanted to custom place everything, and I'm a very indecisive person, so I did go back through and change it, like the surface finish a bit, but that's basically the lighthouse done. Oh, apart from, this is me adding that plant stand that I said about, that looks like a little light cage. I think it works quite well. I also turned it to night so you can see it. Well, I did in a second. There it is. So you can see it. I think it's just more atmospheric. I added quite a few like more industrial looking things in the lighthouse tower itself, like these lights that look more like they're in a garage or something. But I think it helps. I also changed most of the lighting to be a warmer one. Well, I did that later, but I think it makes it so much cozier when it's a warmer light. You can see a bit of the like custom roof peeking through that wall, but I don't think there's much else I could do about it. So that's that. This is me cluttering up the office. I wanted it to be, I did originally have a desk in the main house, but I thought it'd be cute to have like an office. Maybe they do like logbooks or something, with a little bookcase and some books and files and stuff. Maybe they have to like sign off when they've serviced it or something. I don't know. I'm imagining they'd have to do something like that just to prove. I don't know. But yeah, can you tell I've never like researched anything about lighthouses before? This is me adding in a bunch of books. You can see it with your own eyes, but I end up just placing a bunch of them first and then changing the styles later so that they're like not all the same. Sometimes I make them all the same color because I just can't be bothered, especially with like big bookcases. But I was motivated for this one, so I went through and changed all of the ones with the real covers, like not the plain ones, so they were all different. There are some duplicates of like the others, but I think it's well enough. And here's the ultimate trick. If you've had enough of placing books, just put some boxes in. Way easier. You can see the lighting here, that like warmer lighting. I do just think it makes it look, I don't know, it's just less sterile, less hospitally. You can see I'll go back and forth with all the surface finishes here as well. I ended up keeping the like worn weathered driftwood, I think it's called, on the bottom half. I just think it looks older, I guess, which is all I was going for, really. And again, I'm custom placing because of this diagonal. But after this, I basically just added in a bunch of clutter, which you'll see in a bit. There is a bathroom in this build, I promise. I didn't realize when I was editing that I think I cut out all of it, which I didn't notice. I guess it is a very small bathroom, so there wasn't much of it, but I'll show it to you in a second when I do a little tour of the place. So here it is in game. I've made it like a little bit sunsetty to make it just everything looks better when it's slightly sunset. You can see, like I said, I got rid of the foundation. It's just like a slight hill. I wanted a little bit of grass so I could still do some planting. It's just a little bit of a weird contrast, but imagine this is like a cool island with rocks and stuff. You can't... Well, I could probably try to get something like that in this game, but I'd already built most of it by the time I thought of shoving a bunch of rocks into the ground. So there we go. Here it is. I'll show you like a little bit of a walkthrough. I did do a little bit of planting, not much. There's not much to be seen out here. It's basically all inside, but a couple of trees just to, I don't know, just for fun. I added those beams around the door. So this is just that like base door with a bunch of beams shoved into it. Again, just to make it look older. Well, you can see more of the red accents in here. And a lot of the stuff that I cut out at the end was just like clutter pieces. Like I added some art pieces and this like little table with some keys and an umbrella and things like that. I added some little pillows to the, well, I guess they're not pillows. Cushions. That's probably the better word. To these chairs. Yeah, you can see what I meant by like the slightly older appliances, like this older TV, and this fridge just looks older. I don't know why. Just gives older vibes to me. I did add like things like this little jug. I shoved these flowers into it. I added some like candles around, things like that. These little herbs up here hanging out to dry, I imagine. I did put like some stains under the candles. I feel like that just makes sense. Like if you've been like burning the candles, it would be melting into the table. I think that's just cute. This is the bathroom, which I basically showed nothing of in the actual thing. I kept mostly like the stone. I was imagining old cottage, so this is a stone floor as well, like that. I can't even remember what it's called. What am I doing? This. Paving stones. Yeah, so they're basically for outside, but it's an old cottage. You can do whatever you want in here. Yeah, it's a bit... There's not really much to see in here, so it's just a bathroom. I added little bits of clutter, like this little knife block. I think things like making it look actually lived in make it so cute. Like things like I've added these mugs and then I put one of them not there, up here on like the nightstand. I just thought it was nice. Added some little postcards, a little alarm clock, added a couple of rugs, and again the candles and little box, things like that. If you it's not particularly functional now that I added this beam, but I imagine in real life you would, I mean it's just for sleeping. You'd just climb up here. You wouldn't really need to stand, although you do get stuck very easily. And then in here you can see the stairs a bit better. So I just made them spiral round basically until I got to here, where I gave up on the spiral because it gets a bit tight in here. These ladders are technically not functional. They're like the gym ladders, but You just gotta pretend. Imagine you could climb up. And again, there's just the light. I mean, you saw this bit. And I added, in like these little gaps, there's a lot of things that are kind of Frankenstein together that don't really work, but kind of work if you're not too picky. I filled in the gaps with like these little corbels that I just like flipped upside down. I also added those up the top just to make it more cohesive, I guess. But yeah, I like it. I think it's cute. Anyway, that's all that I've got for today. Like I said, I started streaming recently on Twitch. I'm going to be doing some more streams. And I'm going to be uploading a few more videos that have like a cut down version of streams. Like I played Snufkin, Melody of Moomin Valley, which I thought was a really cute, fun game. I think I'd like to edit that down into a little video, things like that. And eventually I'll probably do some actual videos, that's not the right word for it, but videos that are recorded for YouTube and not just cut down streams. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. Let me know how I can improve, what else you'd like to see, if anything. And yeah, have a lovely day. Bye!